I'm here with Kim Schwartz, real estate agent for Century 21, to discuss more about the housing market right now and if buying or renting is the way to go for college students. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Nick.
3 years ago, the housing market in Columbia was really good, buying, selling, and now it's a buyer's market. Can you elaborate on that?
Definitely a buyer's market. We are seeing some foreclosures. We're not hit, as hard as some of the big cities are, but we do have a few. So people who are looking for a deal, remember it's as is property generally. So you're going to do a lot of fixing up. There's probably some damage, no appliances usually. So you're going to have to add that back into your cost. But maybe you're getting good location for a lower price. So that's something we're looking for there. Also, because there's a lot to pick from, you've got, what we would call like the cream of the crop, or the best to choose from. So if you don't like one house, we can probably go show you 3 or 4 in that same price range, maybe even more. Where 3 years ago, we might all be trying to buy the same house.
Yes.
That was a struggle.
So basically, there's even more houses at the same price, and that's why so many aren't selling.
Well, but let's think about that for a minute. What we're lucky in Columbia, remember we have the 3 to 5 year flip. So everyone comes in 3 to 5 years. They're coming and they're going. They're going to be coming in for the university because they're med students. So in 3 to 5 years, they're going out. They're not going to stay here. So we are lucky because we're always going to be moving those houses. Now, what we're seeing right now is our prices are staying the same. They're not really dropping. People are not across the board seeing huge price drops. They're kind of staying where they were. Now, we're not adding that 5% like we were. So if you bought your house a year or 2 ago, you're going to need to stay there. If you have to leave, unless you bought very low or have a lot of equity in that house, you probably will bring some money to the closing because you got, just expenses and fees.
Okay, and this time of year, there's college students, and with their parents, they're looking for places to live next year. With the housing market the way it is, would you recommend buying is the way to go, or renting an apartment or whatever it may be?
Okay, now if you're going to buy and you're going to stay here, remember, we're talking 3 to 5. Don't buy something and think you're going to leave in a year and recoup, okay? So if you're going to stay, then buying's fine. If you're not staying, then I recommend you rent. We have a lot of rental, and it's nice. I mean, like the Lynx is a new place. You get your golf. You've got a gym. You've got hot tub. You've got free tanning. They've got free cable. I mean, they offer a lot for a brand new place. So you get on the interstate and you're back at the university in no time. And I've helped several kids, move into there, and it works great. And I've met with their parents. They feel like it's a good location, safe, that kind of thing. You can go south. You can be down on the other end of town. There's lots of things that were built just for college students. But if you're going to stay, you'll be all right. You need to watch what you buy price-wise because depending on how many people are going to live there, you can't load it up with 10 kids just to get your payment down.
So say you do buy and you stay here 3, 4, 5 years. Is there any sign that the housing market's going to kind of bounce back and you will be able to sell, or will you have trouble selling? Like you said, Columbia, the good part about it is, the 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So would you see difficulty in selling your house after those 3 years?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Now remember, if I'm working with you, we're going to buy at the right price, and then we're going to be able to sell and get your money back. Can you make money? That's a crystal ball I don't have. Will you lose money? I don't think so. Okay. But you've got to stay put, because I have had people call me back in a year or 2 and they have to leave because it's a relo or something. It's just very difficult. You'll notice also in the market right now, you're seeing a lot of for sale by owner signs. That is why they don't have enough equity in their house. They can't hire a realtor, pay a commission, and make any money because they know they haven't been there long enough. So that's, and we try to go back in and help them with marketing their property as best we can, because we have avenues that they don't have, and then we have clients who are qualified. They're just asking people off the street. That's another thing that's kind of frightening about the for sale by owner. And if you have first-time home buyers, they don't usually want to do that because they need a little bit of help.
What factors do students, realtors, and the students' parents look into when they're buying a place?
Okay, first of all, most of the parents are going to want to know, is it a safe area?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as a realtor, we have to be careful that we're not steering anyone to one particular place or another. So we can ask you to drive through during the day, maybe go back at night, look it over, make sure you're comfortable there. You can always call and get things from the city police department if they've had activity in that area, and protect yourself that way. Also, as a realtor, I'm going to be able to help you look at those things as cost-wise. Is it going to be cost-effective? Do you have one person that you're paying that house payment with, or will they bring in some roommates? And so that's always going to kind of be thrown back into it as a factor. Oh, I have a couple of guys that can move in with me, or a couple of girls, and they're going to help make that payment. You can't have too many unrelated people. Maybe there's brothers or sisters that are going to the same university that can live in that house. They can add a couple others. But you cannot bring in just as many people as you want to try to pitch in and help on utilities and costs.
Yes.
Okay?
What areas of Columbia are students really buying at? Like what's the hot item on the market right now?
Okay, and remember, as a realtor, I can't steer anyone to any particular neighborhood, but I will tell you, for the most part, the price range is going to be 100, maybe 120 on the high end and lower. All right, so if you go to a 2-1, which is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, you're looking at maybe your child and one other. All right, and they're going to share on that payment. Well, if you stay under 100, which always in your 2-1s are going to be like that, that's going to be probably affordable. And then if you go over 100, you're probably going to need 3 to 4 students living there in order to make the house payment, your utilities, and be still cost effective. I always say most students would pay $300 a month for their room, whether it's in a house, a duplex, or wherever they are. If you're in your dorm room, it sort of breaks down like that. If you're in a fraternity, a sorority, you're paying to live there. There's a cost involved somewhere. If it's in your dues or whatever, you still have that cost. So if you think about it, with $300 in mind per student, each time you add a student, then that's what's going towards your house payment. So I would say that that's kind of where you would want to end up. As far as areas go, you really have to kind of be comfortable with your neighborhood. You've got to get out there. You've got to go at night. You've got to go during the daytime. Is it quiet? Are there people just hanging around and milling around with nothing to do? Those are the kind of things you look for. If that's the case and you're not comfortable, I would say that's probably not a place for you to go.
Now, there's a lot of neighborhoods in Columbia. Are some designated as like student neighborhoods, where other ones are like, for lack of a better, grown-up neighborhoods?
Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked me that, because I have a lot of parents who will say, I don't want my kids living in College Town or College Row. And we do have that. It's very prominent in the duplex areas. And there's several of them in town. If you're a first, second year student, you probably are fine living there. By the time you're a junior or senior, you're tired of it. You don't want to be where there's parties. You don't want the police always coming over, disrupting things, trying to break parties up. So when you're a little more established, those kids are trying to get away from that, the loud, crowdedness. So they usually go to homes or duplexes that are not associated with that same kind of thing.
Yeah, now's a stressful time for students looking for places to live, dealing with school. But thank you for all your insight about this. Hopefully it will help students, decide where to live next year and save the most money they can.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No problem.